Alright, so this is a video on how to use lossless scaling with the PrimeHack. If you want to play above 60 FPS, which can look kind of choppy sometimes if you're using a mouse, then there's really no good way yet to unlock the frame rate in the Prime games above 60 FPS. So you have to use the lossless scaling or some sort of AI generated frames, which if you want to use that, then you can do that. If you don't like AI generated frames, then you don't have to. But if you want it, this is how you do it. So I have a profile right here for the PrimeHack, right? And these are my settings. We'll get to that in a bit. But first, you need to configure a lot of stuff in the PrimeHack emulator first. So, from my understanding, basically the way this emulator handles input with the mouse is there's kind of two separate displays windows that run, one for the input and one to actually show you what the game is showing, and that can get in the way with when you click. Lossless scaling tries to scale a window that it's not actually showing you. It gets a little confused. So you have to do this little workaround. It's not really the most elegant solution, but this is the only way I can get it to work, and it looks pretty good. So first off, in order to get around the two windows, we just force it to use basically just one window, kind of. Use this render to main window setting right here. You have to check that on, and that just forces it to actually run in the window where you select the game, right? Instead of having a separate window that pops up with the game running. And then after that, there's a few other settings you probably have to change. You might be able to get away with turning a couple of these off, but this is eventually how I got it working. So I also have continuous scanning and background input on because it's sort of, the issue has to do with how the game handles input. So you might be able to turn this off, I'm not sure, background input, but continuous scanning, I have that on as well. And then I also have borderless full screen on. That probably isn't actually doing anything, but if you have problems after all these other changes, try turning that on. Because we're not really in a real full screen. We're basically just going to use this window and scale it up with lossless scaling to make it look like it's full screen. But yeah, those are the main settings in PrimeHack you have to use. Also, as a side note, I was personally having some problems when using Vulkan. With when I clicked, there was some stuttering. I saw some other people having problems with that, but for me, it fixed it if I switch to DirectX 12 right here, or Direct 3D 12. And that basically stopped any stuttering from when I was firing the weapon or clicking. I really don't know why that fixed it, but that's how I fixed that. So those are the settings you should change in PrimeHack. I could go through these other settings if you want to take a look. And you can just pause it and look if there's anything else that you might need to change. Yeah. So also we have to configure the stuff in lossless scaling. So I just make a profile for PrimeHack. And so I have a 240 hertz monitor. If you don't want to scale it up that much, you can turn it up or down. But I'm using 4x scaling. It looks okay, but there's definitely some artifacting, so you might want to adjust some settings if you want. And these might have to do with it. I'm not sure. But yeah, I was messing around a lot with settings to try to get it to work. And now the important part, probably to make it actually look full screen, is this crop input. So I have 25 at the top, right? And that's to get rid of this top part of the window right here where you have this X and minimize and the title and stuff. Because when you run the game, it's gonna hide everything else. Like it's just gonna render the game here in this window, but this is still gonna be at the top. So that's for cropping this part out, right? So that doesn't show. And then in order to actually expand the scale of the window, right? Because when you run it, there's going to be the black at the top and then on the sides a little bit. I just I'm not actually scaling up the resolution at all, but it's just for actually getting it to fit the size of my monitor so it looks full screen and there's not any black bars on the sides. So for me, I just messed around with different numbers, and 1.03 ended up being the right number, kind of. It might be different for you if you have different type of monitor, but that's what it worked for me at 1440p 16:9 monitor. And these are some other settings that I prefer to use, but yeah, those are the important parts. And if we just can go ahead and show you. So you just open the game like normal, and you can see that the game is loading, and you see at the top there's still that toolbar and the window border at the top, right? And then because of that, there's black bars on the side because it's trying to use 16:9 when there's not enough room, right? But because of the settings I put up in Lossless Scaling, when you use the hotkey, right? I have it set to Control Alt S, so I'm going to do that right now. And you might not be able to see it in OBS, but it does scale it up because right now it's not capturing what lossless scaling is displaying, but it should work for you. Right now I'm seeing full screen on my end, and I can tell just from the fluidity that I'm getting the 4x frame generation. So just real quickly load into the game. Yeah, so it's definitely working right for me. You might not be able to see it on the end of the recording software, but I'm getting 240 hertz, definitely some artifacting, but I can get used to it, and I definitely prefer it to the normal 60. So if I unscale with the same hotkey, Control Alt S, then you can exit out. It's a little annoying to get out of the window whenever you're using lossless scaling, but that's kind of what you got to deal with. So you just exit like that. Now that should work for frame generation and stuff like that. But if you want to use the HD texture packs as well, I also had trouble finding this stuff. But basically, the folder that you put it in is in your app data folder, roaming. So that's your user folder. Go to app data, roaming, dolphin load, and then textures. That's where you put it. There were some other guides online that said to put it in a load textures folder that is in a different dolphin folder that's where the program is saved. But it's actually, for me, it worked when I put it in the app data because there's already a load folder in there. So also, so since I'm playing Prime 3 at the moment, I'm only using texture packs that Prime 3 uses. So I keep the rest over in a separate folder, and you just swap out based off what game you're playing. Because if you put all of them in, I got some crashes sometimes in certain areas of Prime 2 because I think it's too much RAM or too much for the program to handle when it's basically holding every single texture from all the trilogy games, even though you're only playing one game. So just only use the ones that you need for whatever game you're currently playing through, and just swap out whenever you need to, and it looks pretty good. So you can find the texture packs just Googling around for a little bit. It's not super hard to find, but yeah, so that's pretty much all of the settings to get it running pretty well with HD texture packs, frame generation, and all that full screen. So I hope that helped out. You can, if you have any suggestions for different settings or ways to make it work better, alternative solutions, you could put it down in the comments. Let me know. And yeah, that's it.